reporting. Joining us now, Congressman Lee Zeldin from House Financial Services. He's running for governor of New York, and Congressman Ken Buck from House Foreign Affairs. Congressman Zeldin, your reaction to Ed Markey saying that basically the oil companies are sitting on millions of barrels of oil. How does he know that? There are dry wells out there. Is he going around drilling? Does he know that? Is he doing seismic tests? Is Ed Markey a driller now?
Yeah, right. I mean, obviously, we all know that that you're being sarcastic there. The fact is that they're spinning reality. They're pushing out talking points as if we are all stuck in some never-ending Democratic National Convention. Fortunately, the average American is smart enough to realize that this has been going on a long time as far as the rising costs. We saw the stopping of the Keystone XL pipeline project. We saw the fast tracking of Nord Stream 2. We're aware of all sorts of safe extraction of natural resources that can be done in our own country. Other pipeline applications that are sitting, not just at the federal government, but at state capitals, getting delayed or denied. And of course, you add the gas tax on top of it, contributing to rising costs, especially in blue states. I live in New York. You see it in California, where the gas tax really starts piling on with that price at the pump. Americans are smarter than what you're saying that some on the left are pushing out to try to convince us otherwise.
And Congressman Buck, to the congressman's point, it's good to see you both. Thanks for joining us. You know, the oil industry is pumping flat out. I think they're using something like 80%, 90% of their leases. You're talking about maybe 10% of the leases that they're not yet drilling on. We don't know if there's even oil in there. But I want to get to this. The White House now wants to boost oil from Canada, but by rail. That's much dirtier and costlier. They're not going to do it by the Keystone pipeline. That's the third rail of Biden's energy security mistake, killing Keystone pipeline and 11,000 jobs. By the way, Canada's railroads have been hit by worker strikes. What is this? The Keystone cops running the Keystone pipeline policies? What's going on here?
Well, what's going on is they think if they use rail, they can shut it off more quickly than if they allow a pipeline to be drilled. They have been attacking fossil fuels for the last 30 years, and now the chickens have come home to roost. It is obvious. In my home state of Colorado, the last governor who left office 3.5 years ago issued, on an average, 30 permits a month. When the new governor took over, we had 5 permits in the first year that he took over. And we're seeing that the decrease in production, 30% less production from a state like Colorado, the 7th largest natural gas producer in the country. It is clear that the Democrat policies have been all along to raise the cost of fossil fuels so that renewable energy looks, by comparison, more affordable.
Yes, so we have no Keystone, but Democrats are cheerleading President Biden's new stringent fuel economy standards. It's going to cause cars to go up even more in price. Car makers will have to pay more than $236 billion for Biden's new rules and regulations. Congressman Zeldin, I want you to react to this. Biden's polls continue to plunge over inflation. He had Obama at the White House talking Obamacare. No one's talking about that. Americans are talking about inflation. Watch the White House blame everybody else but themselves. Watch this.
The problem we're facing with gas prices has 2 roots. First, the pandemic. The second root is Vladimir Putin. Our prices are rising because of Putin's action. There isn't enough supply. No American company should take advantage of a pandemic or Vladimir Putin's actions to enrich themselves at the expense of American families.
We need to do more to get prices under control. Putin's invasion of Ukraine has driven up gas prices and food prices all over the world.
Impacts of the Putin price hike.
He is doing everything he can to combat Putin's price hike here at home.
Polls show Americans don't believe this and not buying it. Your reaction, Congressman Zeldin?
Americans are smarter than the White House is giving them credit for. And they realize that these rising prices started before Vladimir Putin went into Ukraine. And we're seeing the implementation of new policies that result in costs going up. Right now, the state of New York is finalizing a state budget where they're going to be banning all gas hookups on new construction. They announced new deals where they're allowing National Grid to increase electric costs in exchange for National Grid withdrawing an application for a new pipeline. That's the opposite of government working. Americans are watching this. They're seeing their own costs go up. They saw that the timeline of this started early, and they understand why. You can't convince them otherwise because they are smarter than they are getting credit for from this White House.
And that gas powers the electric grid. I mean, majority of the electric grid gets powered by fossil fuels. You know, first, Senator Cruz said this too, Congressman Buck. 5 separate narratives. First, inflation not happening. Then it was transitory. Then it was a high-class problem. Then it's a good thing. It's a sign of how great the economy is. Then it became Putin's gas price. You know, there's that too. And also we've got now the trucker crisis, right? There's a trucker shortage of 80,000. The president is claiming he's middle-class Joe trucker. And watch the White House press secretary basically minimize what's going on with the trucking crisis in this country. Congressman Buck, this is adding to inflation. Watch this.
I used to drive a truck. It's a long story. Anyway, it's getting hard. And I thought I was going to get to drive one of these suckers today. But
2021 was the best year for trucking growth, jobs growth since 1994. And December 2021 through February of 2022 was the best 3-month stretch for long-distance truck hiring since the 1990s. Thanks to the efforts of the Department of Transportation, we doubled the issuance of commercial driver's license issuances in January and February 2022 compared to the prior January and February of 2021.
Okay, first to Biden, media fact checker said what he said was false. He also once claimed he drove a bus. Plus, there's a shortage of 80,000 truckers. What do you say? You can give all the permits you want. It doesn't mean the truckers are going to stay on the job because you regulate them out of existence like California is doing. Your response, Congressman Buck?
Well, that's exactly right. We are regulating them out of business, and really President Trump moved towards energy independence and North American energy independence, working with Mexico and Canada. This president is relying on Iran. He's relying on Venezuela, our enemies, to supply us with oil. It's a mistake. The truckers realize it. Their prices for diesel are going up, and the truckers are getting squeezed. If you look at anything compared to 2020, 2021, it has risen dramatically. President Biden should not take credit for increasing anything from the time that we were at a low during the pandemic. That's just disgraceful.
Congressman Zeldin and Ken Buck, good to see you. Come back soon. Breaking details.